Hello, everyone, and welcome to Rob Has a Podcast. We are here tonight to talk about the 7th, I believe, episode of Big Brother Canada 11 here on a Wednesday night. And I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, ready to talk about this episode. I do think this episode might have been the best one of the season. It's not saying a lot, but it was actually something. And here to talk with me about it all is Scally. How you doing, Scally?
Oh, hello. I'm good. I gotta say, I can't change who I am for this podcast. I will be here to drag when necessary, but like you said, probably was the best episode of the season, so not as much dragging as I thought may be of happening.
Yes. Well, also joining us here tonight, I'm wearing his hat, and that means something. Jacob Jones, how you doing?
Well, I'm doing amazing, and I am as confused as everyone in the chat is. Trust me, I'm doing really good. I thought this episode was amazing. I thought the edits of these episodes have been amazing, and I've been living for it, even though I've only caught a couple. But I keep up when need be.
Jacob is the happiest person with the season so far because he hasn't actually watched it.
No, I'm very happy. I'm like, yo, y'all are going, but I also listen to the podcast occasionally. I listen to the Roundtable Tuesday, where I was like, okay, they really talking their shit. But no, I'm excited to be up here. My first time this season, talk about Big Brother, here with Melissa, the voice of the people, correct?
Mm-hmm. You're the finger of the people.
I'm the finger. Yes,
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got Scally, the Twitter fingers of the people, the social media advocate, and then we have Taran sitting above me. And it's like it's no better place for me to be other than I like to be on top. So here we are. I'm excited. That just worked out really well. I'm not wearing Rob's shirt. I'm wearing a sweatshirt.
Well, careful. I'm currently wearing Rob's sweater, so we got to watch out.
I'm wearing Rob's shirt.
Well, I didn't think this was gonna bring up, but I do have on Rob's underwear, so let's just throw it out there.
All right. Well, of course, also with us here tonight is Melissa. How you doing, Melissa?
I'm doing well. I would agree. I kind of stole my line there. I was going to say this is probably the best episode of the season so far, most entertaining. Honestly, the first good episode. And it also, it made me feel excited and happy to watch it, but also made me really frustrated and mad because I would have loved to have seen literally any of these conversations on the feeds. It just made me sad thinking that we could have seen all of this. We could have seen this Vanessa Zach blow up. We could have seen any of this on the feeds. And instead we're sitting here like idiots on the round table, like, Vanessa hasn't done anything in this game. She doesn't even have a conversation. Like she's just a nobody. And look at her. She's doing all this stuff. Santina has been having all these conversations that we had no idea what's going on. Like we look like idiots talking about something that we don't know anything about. And the fact is that the dailies should be showing us this stuff. Like, what are they doing? They're not showing us anything. They're purposefully showing us side conversations that have nothing to do with what's actually going on in the house. So that way we can't piece together at all what's going on. And I don't even see the point in the dailies because they're purposefully not even trying to show us what's happening. So we are watching them just to get like random conversations between people, showmance talk, like whatever. And we're not getting anything actually of use to anyone who cares about the strategy of the game. Anyway, that's fine. So let's just talk.
Talk your shit, Melissa. Talk your shit. Talk it. Yeah.
I know people are getting so sick of me doing this. Like I know, but like every time there's something new that pisses me off and I need to talk about it and I just got to get it out there at least like so I can just like move past it or something.
Well, here's the thing. For every one person that's pissed off that you're complaining, there's like 10 people that are like, thank God somebody's saying
that are echoing the point.
Well, I hope so. I just like, I don't know. Someone's got to say it. So I'll be that mouthpiece.
Yes. Well, we are here to talk through, again, the Wednesday night episode of Big Brother Canada 11. We saw a veto competition, but we did not see a veto ceremony. We got a to be continued So, theoretically, we don't know what happened with this veto. And so we won't be talking about it until the spoiler section of the podcast. But we did get some content in this episode, particularly we got some Vanessa content as has been brought up prior to tonight. Vanessa was the vacuum lady. And now she's the I'm blowing up the game lady.
I was gonna say there were two things that I knew Vanessa as must feed as I've watched. One is that she loves her daughter, loves her daughter. When she was in the hot tub with Hope, raving about her. Second thing, she likes a vacuum. Third thing, Vanessa's here to call people out, and I, for one, was I a little bit like, but was I also like, okay, come with it, absolutely. So.
Yeah, saw a lot of the sentiment on Twitter. Vanessa is mother. Everyone's super excited. She's getting involved. She's dragging who needs to be dragged. So, yeah, it's exciting. I feel like we've been waiting for moments like these, and we're not getting them in the dailies, but it is here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is exactly the kind of content that they don't want in the dailies, to be honest, because the dailies are uncut and they hate us watching arguments, because in arguments people might say things that might damage our poor delicate ears that we can't bear to hear. And so I don't think they want this kind of stuff out there, and this is one of the reasons why we're not getting live feeds, because we're too toxic, according to the producers.
Yeah, I guess we're just all too toxic. I can't believe that that's something that, I mean, it's like, it is insane to me, because it's like, we literally on the roundtable were like, look, we just would like a statement from the producers, just kind of like being like, look, like, we're sorry, we know this sucks or whatever. Like, just give us some, just so that we know we're all on the same page, and that we're not just like speaking out there into the void. And then they're just like, check out this week's episode where we gave a care basket to Vanessa or whatever. Like I just felt like we were talking to a wall, and I was hoping for some, something from producers to like let us know that like they hear us at the very least. And instead, the response we got was, oh, you guys are too toxic, so don't bite the hand that feeds you. And like, I know that JM was like trying to be funny, didn't realize it was like a sensitive topic still, but like he clearly got that information from someone. Like, he heard from someone, from producers or from production, that like, we are a toxic community, and that's why they had to take it away from us. And like, that is, I can't believe that's the message we got back, was like, just like, you guys are too toxic, and like, this is your lesson. I hope you've learned it. It infuriates me.
All right, well, let's talk through some of what we got in this episode, because we did actually get some stuff here. And I feel like, yeah, again, it was some interesting stuff. Honestly, some of this stuff did just make me more upset that we don't have live feeds, but that's fine. We'll chat it through. We opened the episode. Dan is telling us that his target is Rob, that he has heard through the Zach Vine that Rob is coming for him. And so Rob needs to go, and hopefully he doesn't see it coming. And I guess in order to make Rob not see it coming, he is going to straight up tell Renee, "You're my target."
That was the worst move. I was like, oh my God, if I could have rated him lower on the roundtable, I would have, because that is the opposite of what you're supposed to do. Like, he could have gained some trust with her, or gained some sort of relationship with her by being like, look, there's a bigger plan at play. You are not my target. I do not want you going home. But you have to play up that, like, I've told you that that you're my target, or whatever. And like, kind of like earned some trust with her. Instead, he makes her upset, because he's like, you're my target. I'm actually going after you, for like, with like logic that didn't make any sense. And then it's like, oh, but actually I'm actually targeting someone else. So you're mad at me, and you also are staying in the house. Like, it doesn't, oh my God, it was so bad.
Especially, it's just like, Renee was the easiest person to put up because she had already been up there, and so you don't get as much blood on your hands. You can go ahead and like clue her in later, but instead it's like, no, I have no intention of getting you out of this house, but also here's why you should be really mad at me.
And it's giving her every reason to be like, hey, you're a boss player. And like, hey, you have all these social connections, but you've been on the block 2 weeks in a row. And it's like the math isn't mathing at that point. And so I need 2 plus 2 to equal 4 and not 18. And so Dan, but like he put in like like a Swedish, like a not a Swedish, but like a Swedish kind of way to Renee. I was gonna say like a Swedish type of way. And so I was like, okay, but then Renee like taking with this and being like, he's targeting me. What? I'm coming out guns a blazing. And that's the opposite effect of what he actually wanted to happen. So
it's giving me some Business B energy for Renee, who's just like just like when Business B was just gone, like you're going up, you're not going up. Yeah, actually you are going up. You're my target, you're not my target. It's just like they're just like throwing Renee around, which is it's unfortunately it is kind of what can happen to you when you perform really poorly in the challenges, is that people just don't see any value in like being good with you. They're willing to casually just be like, yeah, you're my target, even if you're not really my target. I don't care if you think you're my target. Like I just whatever, you know. It's all a big ploy.
Yeah.
I got
And
you.
that's Renee even says, she's like, sure, I can be social or I can have like other factors going on, game knowledge, but I'm not a threat. I'm not winning any of these comps. It's like, so you're not going to get an HOH to come after me. That's great. Thanks. Sounds good.
yeah.
Yeah. And then Renee's just like, wait, Hope volunteered for this? What the hell, Hope? We haven't gotten like a ton of it in the episodes, but Hope and Renee are pretty close. And so the fact that he's up on the block next to her and he volunteered for it, she's like, what are you doing, dude? So I didn't know. I didn't realize it was going to be you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, and when she went into the room, you knew about this? No, I knew. You knew about this? No, I knew nothing about it. I was like, I would be scared too, because she came out like guns blazing, like I thought she was going to be, and so it was a little fu that even Hope volunteered her good Judy. So not good Judy, her good friend.
Yeah. Well, we get to honestly one of my favorite segments from the episode, because this duo is one that I feel like I manifested it with the powers of my manifestation. Daniel and Kuzi are going to be talking. They're comparing notes on Zach. Daniel talks about how he wants to be needed in the game. And they just kind of talk some general strategy. This is a duo to look out for, I think, here this season. Even though they do occasionally get the wrong room accidentally.
And I have to say, thank you, Taran, because you were the only one rooting for Daniel and Kuzi and hoping they would work together. So
the only one, yeah.
The
very
only
happy.
one.
I wanted to make that clear.
No, I'm very excited about their potential, alliance, whatever, working relationship. It's I like them both, and I have like a lot of, faith in both of them that they could really pull something off if they work together. So I really, really, really hope that something comes from this and that they can make a run for it, because the two of them together is very strong.
And they're smart. Two smart people. Two people who see the layout of the game, are like making educated guesses about what's going to happen next, who needs to leave, who's aligned with who's targeting who's controlling who's HOH. It like, to me, I mean, and just seeing Daniel on the stream, my heart just gets like warm and fuzzy, because we haven't seen a lot of them on the dailies. But when we have seen him, I've seen him clock in. It is like warms my heart, because he's such a good person. And in Big Brother, a lot of times we rarely get good people. And so it's just like, and the fact that he's like smart and also clocking in and also like working with Kuzi, it's a beautiful relationship that I'm excited to see flourish. And they're clocking tea. Like, that's like the biggest part for me, is that they understand and have a very insightful look at every player in the game and being like, okay, this is this, and this. And it excites me. And I love players who are clocked in like that, who are just like smart, and two smart people. It's rare that we get two smart people forming an alliance together. Typically it's one smart and then the other one, but we are on day like 9 or so. And so one could be less than smart than the other. But at this part, what I'm seeing, both equally as smart. So I'm loving it.
And we do see like some scenes where there are conversations going on between like people who are more tightly aligned, and then like Kuzi just happens to be there, or Daniel just happens to be there. And I feel like people are comfortable having those conversations with them, and that's why they're able to clock a little bit more of what's going on in the house. Where even like, Claudia and Ty, like tight-lipped, no information sharing. Like at least Kuzi and Daniel are getting information.
Yeah, this is one of those times where I was just like, I love these two. Now I'm just annoyed that I can't watch them actually.
Right. Like the best part is seeing two people like be like, hey, actually we should work together and here's what's going on in the house, and then piece all the information together. Like when Tiffany and Claire had that chess conversation, that was just like one of the best moments I've seen on feeds, just because I love when you're like, yeah, put the pieces together, and then they're just like, wait a second, you and this and this. It's just so fun to watch, and it's just it's devastating that we can't watch that on feeds.
And even when they not only talk with each other, but when they talk to themselves, like Kuzi and Daniel separately, they're speaking to the camera for the little bit of second that we get to see. It's still so insightful. So having a really introspective person viewing the game like it is, and then coming to another person that's like-minded as them, is just a beautiful concoction. And it gets me flurries every time I see it.
Well, speaking of a beautiful concoction,
you better not bring up Ty and Claudia, because the way that this man
here, are we?
The way this man pissed me off, like Ty is every person that I should not have dated that I dated. You know, like it gave very like Ty, I was like, this is why I'm in therapy. Like Melissa, when I'm like telling you, like, this is why I'm in therapy. Like,
he's impossible to talk to. He's impossible to talk to. I can't. I don't know why Claudia is even trying. Like, it's like, and I don't even know. Like, I mean, the whole benefit of like a showmance is that you have someone that you're so close to that you like talk strategy with, and you know that they're not going to vote you out because, or you like the idea is that they're not going to vote you out because you have something special that's different outside of game. Like that you two can rely on each other to tell each other the truth, and that everyone else around you, you know, is external to your situation. And instead, I feel like they're being so cagey with each other. Every conversation is talking in codes. No one wants to share real information. They're all just like, you know, it's as if they trust each other less than they trust just random people around the house. I don't know what they're getting out of this.
Yeah, it's she's questioning like, what did you know? And Ty says, well, listen, my goal is to have neither of them go home. She's like, oh no, don't backdoor Rob. So what why would you say that? Well, you guys love a backdoor.
Taran, finish that statement. Finish it.
I mean, genuinely though, this guy was really just like so high on his own supply here that he's like, oh yeah, well, he's like being so cryptic, like, oh well, my goal is to have neither one of them go, as though like people can't tell what's happening, as though he didn't spend all week last week telling half the house about his issue with Rob and how he wants Rob gone, and like he didn't spend half the week last week telling all of the house about how, well, there might be something in the works. Who knows?
And it's like, what could that mean? Like, what other thing could that mean other than a backdoor?
Right.
Like,
and so he's all like, I got this super secret plan. Let me like just drop you some hints of it here and there. And when she instantly clocks it, he's like, what? How do you know about the super secret plan? How dare you? I'm upset about this. How did you know? Who told you? Who told you about this? Because you could not have figured out my super secret plan all alone. It's not possible. She's like, well, I was talking to Shania. Shania? Are you kidding me? You two women you figured out my plan? I don't think so. Rob must have told you. Rob must have told you. That must be what happened. Meanwhile, Rob is sitting there like, yeah, Ty's my boy.
It's like he gets so mad that she has like, and that she's trying to play the game, or that she has any other thing going on in the game other than just like sitting there as his like minion. Like, I think he doesn't want to give her any information. He doesn't want to play the game with her. He just wants to like have her by his side as a number. And that the second she starts trying to talk game, the second she starts trying to, have something else going on or indicate that she knows what's happening, he's like, not having it. You're just supposed to stand here and look pretty. Like
He wants her to stand there in his sweater and go, oh, what a great move, Ty.
That you're so good. That you're so talented.
And y'all want to know something? That's something that I would do. I would be in his sweater saying, yes, Ty, you're so good. Yes, whatever.
You're so good at this
No, Ty, like, you don't have to tell me anything. I am yours. I mean,
I don't want to know your plan.
Yeah, Ty, don't tell me your plans. Please don't. I just want you, me playing pool. Like that's what type of energy I would give if I was the Jacob in the Big Brother house right now. The smart Jacob would be like, Claudia, clock and tea. But the relationship, I wish they would call it like what it is. And I guess they haven't called it anything. Like if you want to talk your strategy with your different people, then come together and just make out and kind of, get your una caduta, tuna, muna, whatever handled. Like just say that and then let it be that. But like, don't be trying to trade information if it ain't that type of relationship. I'm barking too because the dogs are out in the Big Brother house. And like I said, when I was on the first recap, people in this house are horny. And I think that needs to be sussed out before we suss out anything else.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Ty's gonna let Zach know, Zach and Santina, hey, Rob must have told them. Rob must have told the girls that he's in trouble. Because again, they couldn't have figured it out otherwise. So this is gonna turn into like, oh well, this just justifies we were right to target Rob because Rob was already suspicious. just completely not true. We get to the veto competition, and we're brushing teeth, I guess. This was another competition. I just feel like I don't know about you guys. The puzzle part of it was just like instantly over, and it was just a matter of like who lifts their toothbrush first. And then the other part of it, I was just watching people stick, noodles into holes over and over with no regard for who was doing what and how well. It was not visually interesting to me in terms of watching a competition yet again.
That's the thing, is it was so hard to follow. There's so many like spaces all like, at random intervals all throughout the board. So we had no way of actually knowing who was winning until they actually announced each result.
And here's the thing. I literally just talked about this yesterday, but I watched the show, Physical 100 on Netflix, and they had a competition that was almost exactly this. It was that they had to go around flipping tiles, and on one side of the tile it was white, and on the other side of the tile it was black. And so they had to run around flipping tiles, and whichever person/team got the most of their color facing up won. And so, that was a little more interesting because they could flip each other's tiles back and forth. And also visually you could see, oh, there's more black on the board right now. There's more white on the board right now. And also they just kind of edited it better. Just you could follow the storyline of them flipping the tiles somehow because they know how to do it. Big Brother Canada just they're not doing it for me. So
I couldn't tell what was going. First of all, the first puzzle or whatever was literally just so that they could film a close-up of the Sonicare logo. And then I'm sure that was in the contract, is like make sure Sonicare logo is like part of this like competition. And then the second one was like you said, all the colors of the things were the same. You can't see the shapes. Like if they had maybe set it up right and you could like see them plug it in.
The colors were so similar.
But the colors were the same. I couldn't see what was going on. Couldn't see the shapes, couldn't see the colors. So like you're just watching people multiple times in a row move pool noodles around. Like it was the worst competition. And I hate competitions. So like me saying it was the worst is like saying something, but it was the worst competition I've seen in a long time because it was just it wasn't easy to follow. And also like, it wasn't like they could, God, at the very least, have them be in a row or something so that we as an audience can see who's winning. Otherwise, it's just someone at the end saying, oh, okay, you had 22 and you had 21. And it's like, okay, well, but I can't count that. I can't see who's doing better. I can't follow along. So I'm literally just twiddling my thumbs until finally someone reveals who won it. it's not fun to watch. It's not even visually appealing. It was like very boring. Like it wasn't colorful. It wasn't exciting. It was just like a toothbrush. Like, I don't know. Like, I get product placement and like, but I guess honestly, I'm feeling less like generous when it comes to like my, tolerance of this product placement now. Now that they're not really giving us anything in return. So like, we're not getting anything from this season really. So like, I don't really feel the need to be like, yay, Sonicare, like we usually do.
I don't know about you guys, but the lack of live feeds is just for some reason got me like hyped up on trying Oral-B.
No, I'm a Crest type of person. Wait, is Crest Sonicare?
I'm an Oral.
Crest, isn't Crest a toothpaste?
Crest,
I think Crest also has toothbrushes.
Yeah, they do have toothbrushes. I think so. Absolutely.
But I think Sonicare is separate. I think Sonicare.
Well, yeah, Crest disgusting. I never want to see
we're
that
doing?
name
We're
again.
doing exactly what they want us to do. We're talking about it. We shouldn't even talk about it.
Let's talk about the benefits of Oral-B and its rotating brush technology. You know,
I just think I had like a lot more goodwill towards Big Brother Canada, obviously, in the past. And so it was always like, we would always like talk about the Wendy's breakfast or whatever and be fine with like all like the Wendy's competition or the Fresh Direct or whatever they're called. Like all these different competitions, I feel like I was able to be like, or the Travelocity competitions, like, okay, like, you know what? Like, I hate product placement like generally, but like, if it gives us like our favorite show, if it gives us, these live feeds, and if it allows, like this show to exist, then by all means, I'll sit through a Wendy's breakfast segment. But like when I'm not getting anything in return, when they're actively taking stuff away from me, like I don't have any goodwill, and I don't want to sit there and watch some boring segment where they're like, "We love Sonicare, yay!" Like I don't want to see that. I don't want to see the clips posted online where it's like Vanessa gets her Circle K, like, stockpile or whatever. Like, I don't care.
It's like one of those pay-to-win mobile games that like it used to like it's like Plants and Zombies where like it used to actually be a game, and then it's like, no, watch this ad in order to place a plant. Like, no,
it's like it comes
you're
to
just
a point
taking
where
things away.
Yes, it comes to a point where the ads overtake the show. And it's like, I feel like we're heading in that direction, especially with their social media posting. Like, I just feel like we're not getting enough from like to tolerate this high level of product placement and sponsorship. Like the tipping point is we're reaching it. The balance is off.
Well, we did get a Hope versus Zach showdown. That in a competition with only 2 men, we managed to get a final 2 of the men in this competition. And it's Hope versus Zach. But don't worry, Hope's feeling confident.
I'm like at least 100 years younger than him.
Gag.
It is good.
That was gag ready.
Yeah, I support shading Zach, so it's okay.
Yeah.
It was interesting. I know we haven't actually said this yet, but the idea, like after Zach wins and Hope like tells Vanessa, like, oh, I know you, like, I know you told him the strategy to win. Like the fact that Hope can't even like wrap his mind around the idea that he might have just lost, like, is so interesting to me that he's just like, oh, it must have been a sabotage situation because there's no way he could have just beat me.
Yeah, so after the competition, after Hope loses to Zach, Zach wins the veto. He apparently goes to Vanessa and is like, did you throw that to me? Did you tell Zach the strategy to beat me? And she's pretty upset by this. And so she is going to cry to Hope and kind of like that, that hurt my feelings. I would never do that. And I think there's like a very interesting, maybe not interesting, but very like obvious difference, right, between her conversation after this with Hope and the conversation she has with Zach, where she talks to Hope. She's upset. She's crying. She says, I would never do that. And Hope's reaction is, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to make you feel that way. And I don't think he did either. I think that like he was upset about losing in the moment, and he was just like asking questions because he was just trying to find something to be upset about, right?
And just to figure out like why it was that he would have lost after winning all of those rounds. Like he just didn't want to believe that he had lost that. And so it's like, it's easier to sit there and be like, oh, someone must have told him the strategy versus like, oh yeah, he just was better than me.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I get that. Like I might do that too.
While Vanessa is like freaking out here, Hope has also just had his own existential crisis of like the whole reason he's here is to win comps, and he can't do that. His self-confidence is shaken. What is his worth in this house? He may as well go home because he couldn't place 4 bristles faster than Zach. And so that's the thing is when she's talking to Hope, though, she makes it very obvious, like, of all people, you think I want Zach to get $5,000. So good, fast forward to the conversation with Zach that she's about to have.
Yeah, so then she talks to Zach, and I guess she overheard Zach talking about how she's being, too emotional, and that like emotional players, I guess, shouldn't be. I forget the exact quote. But instead of like Zach's reaction to her being like, "Hey, this hurt my feelings," is, wow. I mean, I guess I'm sorry if that, if you got upset by that. But I mean, this is all I was saying, like, I mean, I wasn't like, I'm not saying what you think I'm saying. So it's like, if you think about it, it's kind of on you that you're feeling this way, essentially is sort of like his point. And obviously this does not go well. And this is just humanity 101. Just like, if you hurt somebody's feelings, just apologize to them. Like this is not an argument. Just be like, oh my God, you are hurting in this moment. I'm so sorry that I made you feel that way. And I hope I can fix it in the future. I hope I can, make you not feel that way. But Zach is too caught up in, being right and being like, no, I still stand by my statement. It's just that you need to interpret it better, is kind of the vibe he gives, right? And so the difference here is that Vanessa comes away from her conversation with Hope being like, okay, we're chill now. Like it was emotional for both of us. We both kind of apologized, and it's over. And the conversation with Zach ends in I'm blowing up the game, Zach.
As it should. And I want to see every time somebody calls you being too emotional, I want that same reaction to pop out every time. Give them more emotion. Because hell yeah, I'll be pissed too if I overheard, if I'm in there crying because someone, and I think it was more flared up too, because I just actually thought about it when Hope said, hey, did you try to help out Zach? She probably wanted to really denounce that even more and really go ham on him harder. And so ham is like hard as a MFer, short acronym ham, going ham on someone. But just for anyone that didn't know, Waka Flocka, I think wraps that. But yeah, I think it was definitely, I think Zach got all of his comeuppance all in one. And I was glad Vanessa said it with her pinky out like this, not blinking, not stuttering, and delivering it with precision. I was here for it all.
And right before all this happens, it's even more poetic that Zach and Ty are like celebrating in the pool room, like we run this house. And Zach says to Ty, like, you know what? At this point, I trust Dan more than even Claudia. And it's like, why are you saying that to Ty? Ty says, I don't know, man. Dan's got to go.
Yeah, it's like, okay. Well,
why
I guess
are you
Dan
saying
is
that to Zach?
Dan is second to last, while Claudia is last on Ty's list, it seems, in most conversations.
Yeah. Ty does make a good point. He says to Zach, you should just throw in that comp. Why didn't he?
The HOH, yeah.
I mean, I get it. It's $5K, but Zach, you're the SVP of a successful company. You're the Kardashian of the greater Toronto area, I think, or something along those lines. Do you need this 5K, or are you here to play a game? I don't know what's going on. You're supposed to be very successful.
There's no one in this house that's had more success in the real world than I have. Between you and me, I downplay the successes that I've had. And
That just pissed me off even more. Like Zach.
Ottawa, sorry, Ottawa, not Toronto.
Oh,
I've heard in the chat. It's like, please.
They going up in the chat. Yeah, Zach. Cute man.
Is that a compliment?
That's it?
That's all. That's just all. That's just.
I'm
all
like,
I
I can't tell.
That's just all I have to say about Zach. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Zach's just like, look, just trust me. I know what I'm doing. And that's right before he handles Vanessa the way he does.
And Zach even tries to tell Ty, like, okay, now you have to take credit for this move so that my game is like handled. Good luck after this.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of shows also the, like, I feel like a great Big Brother winner knows how to manage or not tone down like different people's personalities. And just because Zach knows how to deal with Ty or, you know, some of the other people in the house, like dealing with an emotional person like Vanessa is, who doesn't shy away from it, who will show it, it shows his, like, one area of the game, you know, we can say multiple, but one area of the game that he's lacking is just his sorry, my words aren't flowing properly, but adaptivity to emotional players. And we get emotional players every year, and there's just some personalities handle them better than others. And Zach isn't one of those personalities that can. So,
yeah, I feel like most of the conversations I've seen him have not been really great. Like, I feel like for the most part, he doesn't really know like how to handle just like people. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like he always seems to be talking down to everyone. And I feel like that's certainly not the way you want to have a conversation. I mean, I would not appreciate that type of conversation. So I just feel like that's his biggest downfall, honestly, is the fact that he just doesn't know how to like have a conversation with someone.
I think Zach is a great example of how honestly easy the game can be early on if you're just willing to play hard and talk to people and be friendly. Because most people that go into the game, they're afraid of playing too hard and they're nervous about being the first one out, and they play very conservatively. And that leaves a wide open gap for whoever has the, you know, the confidence, whether deserved or not, to just step into that gap and fill it and be like, let me take charge. Will usually be able to take charge. You know, unfortunately, I think that is kind of a reflection of society, as Vanessa puts it.
This is a social game. This is humanity. And we are condensed humanity.
But the thing is, for as easy as that can be, you have a player as bad as I think Zach really is as a player, because he clearly can't handle, like, literally at the first sign of somebody not doing what he's telling them to do, he is blowing up. He can't handle it. Like he has no patience for discussion. And we see this later with this conversation with Santina, where it's just like, you know, like when people are nodding yes and doing what he says, he's like, great, I'm loving this game. And the second they go, but what if, he's like, whoa, what's going on here? Because this is getting way out of hand. And it's like, what are you talking about?
I mean, yeah, he doesn't want anyone to go against him. He doesn't want anyone to like have any, he just thinks that like, and he's not wrong in thinking like, this game will be so easy for me if we just do these things and move to the end.
If everyone just does what I want them to do.
Like why are they not seeing that that's not an easy way to get to the end? And it's like, yeah, that's an easy way for you to get to the end, but all these people aren't trying to get you to the end. They're trying to get to the end. So like, it just like, anytime anyone like thinks for themselves or is like, hey, maybe this isn't the best move, he's like, wait, what are they not seeing? How do they not see that this is my best move? It's like, he just can't see it from anyone else's perspective.
Yeah. Well, Vanessa's going to hit him with the haymaker here.
Zach, you're the kind of guy who has to try to be nice.
Facts.
Drag him.
The shocked gasp afterward is so...
Zach, you're the kind of guy who has to try to be nice.
Like, as if that's the worst thing you can say.
Yeah, I know. You could have called him every other name other than a child of God, but you
it's just like,
yeah,
you have to try to be nice.
Vanessa, you're the kind of person that has to try to be nice to the Big Brother Canada 11 season, all right? You know?
I was here for it all. I mean, and like, I mean, Zach, right? Okay, yes. Zach is used to, he's the Kim Kardashian of
Ottawa.
Ottawa. Sorry, I was about to say Ohio. I'm
Ohio.
not familiar with my Canadian provinces. They're called provinces, right?
I think so.
You're good.
Okay, I know they're not called states in Canada.
Yeah.
I think. But he's the Kim Kardashian of Ottawa, and so I'm
okay.
not.
It is province. I was like gonna
Province,
say something,
okay.
and then
Oh,
you two
what did I
said
say?
yes,
Did
and I
say
was like,
Providence?
yeah, you said Providence. They said and I was like,
I was like,
I just like-
it sounded a little bit off to me, but I was like, no, I guess it's right? I
no,
I
just-
just let Jacob go.
I was like, well, I questioned myself when you guys
Y'all
didn't say
shoulda just
anything,
went with
and
it.
you guys were like, yeah, and I was like,
Yeah,
I
no,
don't want
y'all
to be
should have
like,
went with
actually,
it. Mhm,
I didn't want to be
mhm.
that person.
Okay, so province. So Ottawa is a province of
We all look like
Canada.
idiots.
Honestly, but yeah, he's the Kim Kardashian of the Ottawa of. All right, I'm done. Let's go. I'm good. Ottawa is
Oh,
a city.
no.
Ottawa is a city, not a province.
We don't know anything.
Oh boy. Well, she's gonna call him out. She says, "Hey, remember when you were trying to run the HOH, telling me what I should do if I won the veto? Hey, remember last week when you wanted to vote Rob out? Hey, remember last week when I had to tell you to stop being so mean to JM? Whoa, what are you talking about? I don't know what you mean." And she's gonna go to Rob, and she's gonna say, "Rob, listen, I'm telling you, they were trying to, but I blew up the game because hey,
It's getting boring.
That's why she
not
really
wrong.
did it. That's why she
Not
really did it. Yeah.
She says, Rob, they're voting you out. They wanted you out last week. I'm telling you." And he's like, Are you sure? You sure? Did they say Rob or Roberto? Because easy to confuse. I don't know. I don't know about that. He doesn't seem to believe her, but he's gonna go and ask Zach. He's like, "Hey Zach, what's going on? Why is she saying this?" And I like, again, you can see the stark contrast between Ty's response and Zach's response. Ty's response to Rob coming up and being like, "What's up with this?" Ty's like, "Oh, so ridiculous, that idea, right?" And Rob's like, "It's not very funny." Just trying to figure this out. And Zach literally says, Rob's like, "I'm just looking for an explanation." Zach says,
We can sit down, chat tomorrow. I'm not really in the mood right now to kind of go through this whole thing.
Which is not a very comforting response of a person accusing you of, hey, are you targeting me? Were you targeting me last week? I would be like, hold on, homeboy, we're gonna stay in this room. I'm gonna lock the door and we're gonna talk about this. But yeah, Zach, he didn't expect it. He didn't expect to be called out like it. And I bet in his mind, how dare someone call me out, especially in week 2. I thought I had this game. But I liked it. It was shot to
That's the thing. Zach likes the initial dictating and 0 of the follow-up. He's not going to comfort you. He is not going to manage his plans at all. He says it once, and if you don't get it, that's on you.
Yeah. And if you ask him to explain himself, he's going to be like, "Listen, the numbers are a little strange today. Let me get back to you tomorrow." It's like, this is a very corporate response, but it's, I mean, basically what he's telling Rob here is, you're asking me to explain why Vanessa is saying that I was going after you. And unfortunately, it's very difficult for me to come up with a lie in the moment. So if you could just give me a solid 24 hours to come up with a lie for you, that would be great. And Rob's response is, sure, yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah. He didn't want to
Not
buckle
good.
down at all. I mean, he didn't expect Vanessa to meet him with his own tea and bringing it to his front door, being like, hey, I know everything you were doing last week. Certain people in the house don't know, so I'm about to air you out. And she did it flawlessly, and then went up and then delivered the tea back to Rob. Like, how perfect was that? And then had Rob deliver the tea back to Zach, and then Zach looking dumbfounded. Yeah.
Well, Santina, after all of this, is starting to rethink her game. and she's
Good.
going to make. We did not know this happened. She makes a pitch to Dan. She's like, Dan, don't do what Ty and Zach tell you to do. They did the same thing to me last week, and they made up lies to get me to target JM. Is that what they're doing to you? And Dan's like, I don't know, maybe.
And Dan's like, wait, so sorry. I should allow Ty and Zach to tell me exactly what to do, right? Yeah, okay. I will allow that. It's like, no, you're like, it's like, if I the thing is that this also makes me want to rate Dan even lower, because it's like someone comes to you and gives you this information, like this is huge. Like the fact that they were controlling her HOH and now they're trying to do the same to you. Like, even if you don't think you're being controlled, like the fact that those two, that she is telling you that they basically chose the nominee last week and now they're doing this, seems like they're doing the same thing here. Like that's got to put you, on edge or something. Like it's got to get you like to at least look around and be like, wait, I need to make sure this isn't happening to me, because she's regretting this. Like I'll probably regret this too. And instead he's just like, whatever. Whatever. Let's just have them, control my HOH too. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't see how he doesn't get that that's the same thing that's going on here.
Well, I mean, Dan basically it gives off, well, it sucks that we did that to you last week, but now this week, I'm actually working with them. And so let's see if we can figure it out and actually go through with the plan, or like wake up with what Santina's telling you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, Santina questioned Zach about it. This is when I'm over it. I'm over it. She's like, well, what? I don't understand why we're doing this. I just want to talk through options. I mean, if you're gonna be like this, then I don't know what we can. There's nothing you can say that's gonna change my mind. So I just don't know what we're gonna do at this point. I don't know what you want from me. I just kind of, we're supposed to work together. Usually when you work together with someone, you kind of you talk to them. I don't know if maybe SVPs don't do that. Maybe they just kind of talk at, but I don't. Usually you just talk with someone and you kind of talk through options. Schmoptions, Santina. I'm over it. And he leaves.
He's impossible to work. Like literally, Zach and Ty are impossible to have conversations with. Like that is not the type of player you want to work with at all. Like you'll just be doing their game.
Mm-hmm. And it kind of gave me confirmation that Santina was actually on like the right side of like history, because we've seen her on the daily somewhat give like a lingering of like, I don't really want to work with Zach and Ty like that, but kind of seeing her in this moment kind of like, so you really don't. Well, fingers crossed you really don't. And I just can't wait to see how it plays out.
Yeah, it's just funny that Santina opens the conversation with like, Zach, you're just so good with your words, and I'm really worried about that. And to then watch him completely fumble this conversation. Like 30 minutes ago, he had a woman running around the house completely blowing up her own game because she was mad at him. Like, this man's not good with his words, and Santina's finally figuring it out this week. And like he proceeds to do the same exact thing, which finally seems to wake up Santina.
Mm-hmm. And when she tries to wake up Rob, his eyes remain closed. What is going on here? She's literally like, they're going to put you up and vote you out. And he's like, you're saying what? She's like, they're going to put you on the block and vote you out. It sounds like you're telling me that they might try to put me up. They might try to. No, I'm saying they are going to. Interesting. That's an interesting opinion. I just don't think there's any way Ty would betray me. This is the guy that Ty is like, he's in all of the women's ears, getting them not to trust me, getting them worried about him, going on the block. He's lending out sweaters left and right. He's on to me, and he's literally sitting there. Santina's saying Ty's trying to take you out. And he's like, nah. Not Ty.
Yeah. Santina spills her entire week 1 game, and Rob says, please just give me something. Like something. I need like she gave you everything.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And especially after Vanessa's blow up like culminated in her saying that you were trying to get Rob out last week, and he hears that supposedly. Like, you would think that like all signs are pointing, like giant neon sign is pointing like, okay, they tried to get you out last week. They're trying to get you out this week. Like, emergency, maybe start to panic. And, you know, he just doesn't want to believe it because he wants to believe that he's in with his bros.
I can tell you, I think my interpretation of this from the drops is that, as per sort of the usual operation of this, Zach and Ty took Vanessa's blow up and they twisted it into, well, Rob, you were never in danger before, but after all this blow up, like, your name's starting to float around a lot. Like, Vanessa really screwed you there, you know? And Rob has been going around like, I don't even know how I got dragged into all of this. I didn't do anything. And so I think he's kind of like upset at Vanessa. And I kind of got that vibe when he was talking to her. Like, why did you drag me into this? And then like when he's questioning Zach, Zach is like, see, now you're being paranoid. Like, man, Vanessa really ruined your game. And so when Santina comes to him with this, he's like, just leave me out of this. I'm not a part of any of this. It's like, no, you are. You are the only part.
Yeah.
Yeah. People are trying to warn him, and he wants to believe that his bros have his back, and they don't. They want to get him out. So, you know, I mean, honestly, like, this is a tough week because I could see benefits for us as viewers to have both of them stay. Because, you know, if Rob realizes, you know, oh, okay, they were really trying to get me out, and hopefully he, you know, can be a major figure against the bros, that would be great for us. But also I've been really appreciating Renee lately, and I think that she's, you know, really got her eyes open to the game, and I could see her as being a good ally for some of the middle people, and it would be great to have her stick around because I feel like she's really the type to like get better and better as we keep going. So, you know, I could see benefits to having both of them stay. I'm kind of sad that we have to lose either one of them.
Well, I mean, it's we've got a little bit of a twist here at the end of the episode, which is that what about Jonathan? Because Jonathan shows up out of nowhere in this episode, and he wants to hear an explanation from Zach. Like, Zach, what's going on? Why are we hearing that Rob has been a target? And Zach gives like the most textbook like deflection tactics. He's like, what do you mean what is going on? What specifically are you asking about? And he's like, the whole Vanessa saying about the Rob thing. About the what thing? I mean, I think that, you know, something about Rob. Do you even know what you're asking right now? Because I'm just confused about what do you mean by this? And he's like, I don't know, I think. And so it's like, yeah, see, this is just, it's all caused so much chaos and paranoia. It's just gotten so bad, you know? And now Rob isn't even asking me these questions. Excuse me? He asked you yesterday and you told him not to talk to you. Rob, are you here asking for him? Is that what this is? And Jonathan's like, is it what it is? And he's like, I don't know, man. I just don't know what's happening right now. And so like he avoids answering the question, but Jonathan doesn't come away from this conversation like, man, I guess Zach's innocent. He's like, oh, I guess Zach screwed us. And it's just like this man can't handle a single conversation. He had a full day to come up with his dumb excuse, and this is the best he had.
Yeah, he's clearly not a good player. Like, you know, it's always like tricky the first week because you're like, are they actually good? Because everyone seems to really like them, and they're, you know, they're the number one person that everyone's talking about. Like, are they actually good, and can they use this, or are they actually bad and just like out there in front? And clearly he's not very good. He's not handling any of these conversations in a good way. People are suspecting him even more. And not only that, he shouldn't have won this veto. It came down to him and Hope. And the easiest thing to do would be to let Hope win it. Hope takes himself down, and then he can influence the decision to get Rob put up instead of being the person to use the veto for like seemingly no reason. So it's just, he's getting way too much blood on his hands for no reason. He doesn't have to do any of this stuff. And just not handling any of these conversations in the right way to try and avoid any sort of blame or to try and actually deflect any of this blame. Instead, he's just getting dirty, getting messy.
I mean, he's asking why everyone's involving him. Like, why am I catching so many strays while his foot is on the pedal all the way to the floor and his hands aren't on the wheel? He's not willing to steer. Like, he's just going straight through every obstacle in the game.
Yeah. So Jonathan is upset, and this was such a wild ride for me because you know, we start out and it's like okay, Jonathan, because they, in the episodes especially, I feel like they haven't really set up this relationship very much. Like, this kind of, I imagine, comes out of nowhere. And it's kind of like, man, he's really upset about Rob potentially being in danger. And like, I'm like, okay, I get it, but I'm not like empathizing a ton yet. But then he keeps talking. He talks about his mom, and like, you know, about his philosophy, and I'm like, he's starting to get me. Like, this is pretty emotional. Like, he's kind of like, I'm feeling what he's saying right now, you know. Like, this is a hard situation for him. I get it. And then it keeps going. And it keeps going, and he's in the diary room, and he's like, he's my brother, and that, I don't say that word lightly. And I'm like, okay, it has only been like, you know, 14 days or whatever, but you know, that's fine. We're still, you know, it's an intense experience in there, and I get it. You know, I'm still with you, Jonathan. And then it keeps going, and it keeps going again, and you know, he's alone in the room, and he's like, that's not a bone in my body. I can't change any bones. And I'm like, okay, we're talking about bones now. We're talking about bones. And he's like, and then he goes, the last line of the episode, a completely played straight emotional moment in this episode. The final line of the episode is,
Where the man's hat means.
These people are obsessed with clothes.
Wearing the man's hat. That means something. What kind of power does Rob have in his clothing that is making these house guests lose it? Because he's got some kind of enchantment going on, I think. His sweaters are so powerful. His hat is powerful. Jacob Jones, I can't even imagine the power of his underwear.
Oh, and I just wanna nibble. Yeah, I'm sensing that. I've been sensing that his whatever he gives off is very strong, because the way that Jonathan's clocked in and the way that Homegirl was clocked in is the same way I would be clocked in, probably. Like, I could get in the passion that Jonathan had. I was like, yo, anybody on the outside would be so lucky to have a man like Jonathan behind them, because that man will go to war for you. And I was like, I see that, especially after how many days? 14 days? You calling this man
like
brother?
Like in 18 or 19.
Call it day 29. It still wouldn't make a damn lick of difference to me. You calling this man brother, saying ain't nobody gonna touch him. All right, Jonathan. Hey, ain't nobody better mess with my man, and I'm with you.
Yeah, it was certainly like a strange way to like end the episode. It was very. It like went from 0 to 100.
Yeah, I went from like mad at Zach to like strangely emotional to laughing hysterically.
It was like, what happened here? I don't even know. It was just like, and it went like in such unexpected directions too, because it started so benign, and then it was like, oh, and my mom's cancer, like that. I think it must have been edited or something, like cut in a strange way or something, because it felt like it went from like a sentence about game to like all of a sudden talking about his mom, and it was just very like jarring to like go from like this, like, oh, we're just talking about game stuff, to like now it's like, oh, we're bringing in like real serious, like real world stuff. It just went up and up and up. It was like, is there anything further, any place further it can go from here? And yes, it can, because you know, he brought up the hat. So it really just, yeah, very emotional.
My question is, do we need to apologize to Ty? Because clearly there is something going on with Rob's clothing. You know, Jonathan is telling us he wore the man's hat, and that means something.
Yeah,
and
right.
is that corroborating evidence that Claudia wearing Rob's sweater meant something?
If that's what it means, we are missing a lot on the feeds of this relationship. So
yeah, I don't know what's going on, honestly.
Yeah, I think we do owe Ty an apology, though.
I think best case scenario is at some point in the season we see Claudia with that hat on.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, yeah.
That'll break him.
That would
Casting
break
her vote
him.
to evict Ty.
I would love that.
That would be nasty if Claudia really want to sting it. Yeah.
Honestly,
oh my God.
the
What
relationship.
if she dressed up entirely in Rob's clothing on eviction night?
Like I vote just that
Yes.
Ty. Honestly, her relationship with Ty is like not beneficial to her at all. She's not getting any information, and honestly, she's just getting roped in with him as like an easy way to get to Ty is to get Claudia out or whatever. And I just think that she just needs to separate from him. If he's not going to give her any good information and it's not going to be good for her strategically, like she just needs to go somewhere else because it's not it. It's not good for her emotionally, I'm sure.
Yeah.
In terms of like what we've seen, the way he communicates with her. So, and it's not good strategically. So like, get out of there.
And I feel like and different people tolerate different things. But I feel like at a certain point, if this game is built on trusting people and alliances and whatnot, having a relationship like that can be so good and so hot 1 second, but you can't trust a person. I feel like at some point you're gonna be like, all right, this is getting old. We can't just make out. We need to like, and especially making out in the rain.
In the rain.
Yeah. That can only go so far without trust. And I don't think this ship is set to set sail, or this ship is going to set sail very far. You see what I did there? Like ship, showmanship, shipping, and then set sail, going on the water, like far.
Yes.
Like, I don't know should I say no pun intended? I don't know. I thought it was clever. I thought it was
think it was
clever.
intended.
I don't know. Where's the
think the
bell?
pun was
Where's the
intended.
bell? Okay, where's the bell?
Yeah, ding, ding, ding.
Ding. Come on.
All right. Well, anything else from the episode we should talk about before we get into some spoilers?
I think we covered it.
All right. Well, as I said, I do think it was the best episode of the season so far. We got a blow up. We got this like weird stuff at the end. And it's some interesting conversations going on, but it's still this season. So
Great
Anyway.
episode. I love
Anyway.
the episode. It was a great episode. I'm excited for the season. I feel like we have smart people in the house, and yeah.
all right.
I
Well,
hope.
let's get to some spoilers. We'll tell you what happened with the veto and what it's looking like for the vote tomorrow night. Here we go.
The Office of Civil Defense has issued the following message. This is
A spoiler.
warning.
A spoiler.
Warning means that an actual
Spoiler.
against this country has been detected and that protective action should be taken.
All right. Well, I can tell you that to expect the expected, because the veto was used on Hope, and Rob went on the block. He was backdoored. He said, I kind of had a feeling, but I didn't think it was going to be this soon. Which in hindsight, having watched this episode, is an absurd statement.
Yeah.
Because
One
he was
singular
warned
feeling.
specifically twice.
Yeah. Everyone's telling him. He just didn't want to believe it.
Oh boy. It did seem like there was potentially some movement to keep him around, specifically with Daniel, Kuzi, and Anika. Those 3 votes combined with Jonathan and Santina would be very powerful. They'd only need 1 more. Maybe Hope, maybe Vanessa, and maybe a couple of others here or there. But as of right now, as of yesterday, I should say, from today's drop, it does not appear like Daniel, Anika, and Kuzi are feeling particularly strong in that direction. And Jonathan was heard on the drop saying that he does not feel like it is going to work out for Rob. Now, he was saying that to Renee, who is the other person on the block, but he did seem genuinely pretty resigned. And it kind of matches what we heard from, again, with Kuzi, Daniel, and Anika, with them kind of talking about like salvaging their relationship with Zach, essentially, which kind of coincides with the idea that they would go along with the plan to take out Rob and just work with Renee instead.
Yeah, I think it would take Santina breaking away. She talked about in the episode, like, maybe I could use Rob to go after Zach. I think it's like a little convoluted, probably unnecessary at that point. Just like do it yourself or have someone else do it in the house. So unless Santina actually makes that move, I think it's probably set.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing about this kind of situation. We've talked about it a little bit at this point, but it is a weird choice. It's a tricky choice because you know your instinct, if you're anti-Zach, is like, well, Rob is anti-Zach. We can use Rob against Zach, which is good for Santina because Santina has a great relationship with Rob. But if you're Kuzi and Daniel and Anika, and you don't really have that relationship with Rob, you know, how useful is he going to be? He has one purpose. If he fulfills that purpose, now you've got Rob to deal with.
Yeah,
And
you
if
have
he
to get
doesn't
him out
fulfill that
somehow.
purpose, you still have Zach to deal with. And so, you know, you can't just like build a relationship that quickly. You know, it's not impossible, but you'd need to be building that relationship very quickly. And unfortunately for Rob, I guess, he hasn't really been working on building those relationships. If anything, Jonathan has been campaigning harder than he has. So if you're not getting these reassurances from Rob constantly, and not only the reassurances, but the actual relationship building with Rob to make it seem like this is not just a sort of surface level contractual kind of deal that we're making, but a lasting relationship that will span the length of the game. If I'm going to keep a threat like you around, then I think it becomes harder to make that call, especially if you have to give up other potential connections that you have, like the one that they do have with Zach, as much as they don't trust Zach.
Exactly. I feel like there are pros and cons, obviously, to keeping both of them. But I think it is a bit more dangerous to keep around Rob, considering that, you know, like you said, once he fulfills his promise or whatever, or maybe he won't even fulfill his promise. Like, what if he goes back to Zach? Who knows? Like, what if he goes back to the bros? Like, there's just no real guarantee. Whereas like with Renee, like, you know, she's obviously not in with the bros, and she can't win competition. So it's kind of like just in the future, an easier person to get out, and she could be a number for you, but she could also be someone that you could take out and don't really have to worry about, versus keeping in someone who you do have to worry about potentially or at least you definitely have to worry about them down the line. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense that Rob would be the one to go. Like, you have him on the block. Why not take the shot? You're not really going to get that opportunity very often. So yeah, it seems likely that Rob will leave.
Yeah. How do you feel about that, Jacob?
You know what? With Rob, I'm gonna miss certain aspects, but he can keep certain aspects, and so I'm not. It's the body banging. I'm gonna miss looking at him, eyebrows, everything on point. But that's kind of all. And especially after this episode, after people giving him billboards of signs telling him what's tea, and him being like, "Oh no, is it tea?" I'm like, "All right, homie, you can go."
I want an update, Jacob, because in our preseason podcast, you famously had a top pick on the board that was your guy.
Yeah.
How is that? Does that stand?
My guy, as in like what? My guy.
Your guy Ty?
Oh, okay. So yes. So Ty, I'm here. Like Ty.
Is he still top pick on the board, or have things shifted?
Okay, Taran, I feel as though if anyone listening tonight knows this, you probably know my toxic love traits better than anyone. So I love it. Like the interview that Ty has given, I'm like, damn, I've been in that. No, I need to stand up. I truly need to stand up. But Ty, Ty's still on the top of that list for sure. Rob is coming at a close, and I know it's toxic, and I know.
You stop that.
I'm trying to free the. I'm trying to be freed from it. I'm trying to be, but I can't. I'm not in that. That's why I'm in therapy. But yeah, Ty is still on the top of that list. And I know the way he talked, the way I'm just like, but trust me, I think I've been in those situations. I'm trying to find my way out. But Ty, for right now, Maybe in April I'll be done with them time with them, with them cons. But for right now in March, I'm gonna live it out and I'm gonna have fun. All right, just let me be.
That'll be the check-ins. We'll on the tie guy
At
scale.
what point
are you
am I
still a tie
done
guy?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy. It does seem like, from what we can tell on these drops, that this Daniel and Kuzi connection also has Anika involved. They seem to be a bit of a trio. And they say that they are trying to keep that on the down low as much as possible. But the very next day on the drop, they were literally in the bedroom talking game for like hours as multiple people walked in. So we'll see. I do think this is one of those things where, like, these are smart players and they recognize the value in keeping their alliance a secret. And they talk about it and they're like, it would be great to keep this a secret. But then they don't actually work very hard to keep it a secret. Like, they know it's valuable, but they don't like act as though it is as valuable as it is, because it is so valuable. And you should be spending so much effort to make sure that people don't see it, because it is one of the most valuable things you can do in the game, is to keep those allegiances a secret. And so many players, I feel like, fall into this where they're like, that would be really hard. Like, if they find out, they find out. It would be great if they didn't, but what are we gonna do? And like, that is genuinely, I think, the downfall of so many players who could have been in a much better position if they had just kept things secret. So I'm really hoping that they kind of get on that. And I know it's tricky too, because it's like, these are the people you get along with best. In a house full of Zachs, like, you're going to want to hang out with Kuzi. You know what I mean? But, it's tricky.
That's good.
That's the thing. The only positive about the dailies, I guess, is I can lie to myself and say this was a one-day trust building and they're going to be back on point tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, it's relevant. Moose brings up a relevant point here, that Kevin and Helena barely talk to each other for so long in the game, to the point where we had actual full live feeds and we didn't know that they were a duo for like a long time, because they were so careful.
I remember we were shocked. We were like, wait, what? They've been working together this whole time? That was great. I mean, that's the way you got to play it. And it's hard because it's like, well, if you're working together, you want to talk to each other and compare notes and talk and whatever. Like, even if it's not just socializing, you still want to like talk with the person you trust the most. But it's like, you can't, like, you have to keep it a secret. And it's so hard in a house filled with a ton of other people. But, that's how secret alliances, work. You kind of have to just like put in the work when you can talk a lot for a few minutes, like do like a really quick info drop and then move on. But yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. So that's about what we've got. Heading into next week, it does look like right now Rob is probably going out. But it is still looking a little dire for Zach, as many people in the game are starting to turn on him here. He still does have Dan, but Dan can't compete. He's still got Ty. And of course, he's got himself. But honestly, apart from that, I think there are a lot of people that might be looking at Zach next week if they win, because he's a very easy house consensus target. So we will have to see. There's also some intrigue, at least from my end, on like where do people like, like where does Jonathan go, right? If the vote is 10-1, because Jonathan plans to vote for Rob as a sympathy vote at the very least. Where does Jonathan go from there? Because as he said, he thought he was friends with Zach. He thought he was friends with Ty. He knows now that they, took this shot at Rob. He doesn't like the other relationships he has. He had a relationship with Claudia, but she's closer to Ty now and with Ty. And so like, that's tricky. He's talked with Kuzi and them a bit, but like, I don't think there's like a solid game relationship there. He has good relationships overall. I think he has the ability to blend in anywhere he wants, but he's also really like down and like, I don't want to really even play this game anymore. I'm just here to play comps. And, if I win, I win. And If not, then I genuinely, I'm not built for this game. Not a bone in my body. So I'm curious to see where he goes, because I think he is like where he ends up going could mean a lot for the game, as almost as much as Rob's hat.
And we love Rob's hat. I caught that late. Yeah.
Oh boy. All right. So anything else we want to bring up here?
I'm also very in the same vein as my thirst for Ty. I'm also very excited to see Ty and Zach get humbled in this game, and get their comeuppance. And I think it's going to be very beautiful. I think they're going to fall apart. Like, what's a food that like falls right off the bone? Good steak or rib or whatever. Like, it's just gonna it's just gonna come together so beautifully, and they're gonna be like gobsmacked that I hope they
turn on each other.
Oh, and you know why? Because I thought Rob and Ty and Zach were all gonna be best buddies, and I said this. I don't know when I did, but I said this. I was like, you can't have like. You know how people always complain, oh, women's alliance won't work because of X, Y, and Z. With guys, Ty, the way I see Ty, I feel like Ty wants to be the prettiest, the best, the finest, the sexiest man in the room. And having Rob come in, eyebrows and all, abs and all, I think he probably like, yo, what's this? And especially with the sweater gate.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
he's like, we gotta get him out.
You still get that from me, but probably not everybody. You know what I mean? And so, like, I think a little bit of his ego is shocked, and so I can't wait for him and Zach to be gobsmacked together, turn on each other, and then him look to Claudia, and Claudia pay him dust. Claudia, that's how you gag him right there. You understand me, Claudia? That's how you do it. Okay? Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
I love it.
Well, hopefully we get it. Okay, well, that's what we have for you tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow night. There will be an eviction. We'll be live after the eviction to talk through it all. Kevin Jacobs will be joining us, and we'll talk it through. Should be a good time. And I will be live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Taran Armstrong, watching live with all of you. We'll see. Anything could theoretically happen. The last update we got was from yesterday. So all day today, something could have changed here or there. So tune in for all of that. Of course, we'll try to get another update out for you as well, shooting for 3 p.m. Eastern on those, just depending on them actually dropping on time. So we'll get some last minute info before the eviction there. And Survivor was just on as well. Survivor Stockwatch will be coming up this week. I also thought this was the best Survivor episode of the season so far, personally. So pretty good night for reality TV overall, I should say. So that's what we've got. You can also find me on Twitter at Armstrong Taran. Scally, where can people find you?
Anything I'm doing will be on Twitter at Brian_Scally. Currently talking about the Challenge World Championships over on the Dom and Colin feed with Matt Ligori. That's been a ton of fun, so people should check that out. But anywhere else I pop up, again, we'll be on Twitter.
All right, Jacob Jones, what do you got going on?
Anywhere I'm popping up at can be on Twitter at JacobJ_Jones. And don't forget tomorrow's podcast with Kevin Jacobs. And also I'll be watching the Thursday night's episode on my Twitch stream at Taran Armstrong at twitch.com.
And of course you can find Melissa at It's Melissa with 3 A's. At the end. 3 A's at the end. Yeah. Don't add them to the beginning. That would be weird. Melissa. Melissa. That would be kind of weird.
Melissa. Melissa, how do you actually spell your name, though?
With 3 A's.
Like in real life, or you just
like as a lawyer, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
When the judge introduces her, they have to be like.
They have to say with it's Melissa. Yeah.
With 3.
They have to be like, please approach the bench. It's Melissa.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us here tonight, and we will see all of you next time.